Hello everyone, my name is Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a poetry analysis, which is something I haven't done in a little while. I believe my last video about poetry was 100 queer poems, and that was absolutely excellent. I loved doing that one. It was a lot of fun. So I figured I'd do another one. I was definitely very inspired by two lovely ladies from BookTube, and I will link their channels down below, because they're just lovely, and I connected with them on a live show actually. It was Jen and Emily, and they were just absolutely lovely, and I watched both their videos on like poetry and poetry analysis, and like they did an excellent job. So definitely two lovely ladies to watch out for. And yeah, let's get into this author's poems. So I will put it up here somewhere, but we have The Flower That Went Bad by Yogesh Chandra. So he is a Fiji author. I don't know too much about him, but I will definitely link his Amazon page and maybe a Goodreads page, because wonderful author. Not somebody that I knew about too much about, but the poetry speaks for itself, is what I'm trying to say. Even though it will not speak for itself because I'm doing an analysis of it. 2 poems, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get into, now that we've done all the housekeeping things, let's get into a couple poems here. I have them on my Google Docs here, and just the analysis I've done of the poem, so if it looks like I'm like looking somewhere else, that's kind of why. So the first poem we have is called Prozac, which is a medication. For those of you who don't know, it's an antidepressant. And yeah, let's get into this. When the sunflowers started feeling low, the highly qualified psychiatrist prescribed them Prozac, starting with just 20 milligrams a day because it's safer that way. And slowly all the beauty and magic got dull and drowsy. The sky felt lousy. So they sat and waited in the densely occupied hall at the asylum. The doctors now increased it to 40 milligrams a day, and so too the insomniac nights that follow, left with a peace of mind that was just so hollow. The experts said that it would make them happy again, but after 3 years and 3 days, all it did was make them incapable of feeling even the rain. One night, a sunflower took a plunge into the stormy ocean, and the others realized they could not even cry, because their minds had become so densely dry. So, wow, it's a powerful poem, just based on what you see here. So let's kind of like do a deeper dive into each line and kind of see where we're coming with this. So we're starting with the analogy of sunflowers. So an analogy is just describing something as something else, using something to, that's probably not a good way to explain it, but essentially what you're doing is you're taking an object or a thing and using it to describe something else. That's probably a better way to describe it. So in this imagery, we have the sunflowers, which are seen as more of an air of innocence in its flower imagery. And then we're going towards some sarcasm when we're talking about the highly qualified psychiatrists. And there seems to be some irony in this, that they may not know everything, even though they may seem to think they know everything. And then another dose of sarcasm where we're talking about the 20 milligrams a day because it's safer that way. And this is questioning whether this is safe at all, not really going into whether or not the dose is safe, but like if it's safe at all. And then when all the beauty and magic got dull, this is taking all the emotion and creativity fading in their life. The flowers are becoming wilted, let's say. So they sat and waited in the densely occupied hall at the asylum. So the flowers, needed more medication from a busy doctor's office, and you're going into this idea that mental health care is behind and backed up with people that need help but are not getting it in the way that they should. And so too the insomniac nights that follow. So nights without peace or rest. Idea that meds make them restful but useless at the same time, with that peace of mind that was just so hollow. The experts said that it would make them happy, and then obviously the time passing, the time that the flowers couldn't even feel the life-giving water and rain, the things that made them happy, the things that made them who they are, is kind of this idea here. And then plunging into the stormy ocean. So I'm not sure how to say this YouTube safe, but essentially not being able to cope with how they're feeling, so they unalived themselves. The other flowers could not react because the Prozac made them incapable of feeling. So this idea that they could not even cry because their minds became so densely dry. And it's going back into this flower imagery where the flowers are not getting their life-sustaining water and rain because they can't even feel it. And then, like, the overall thing that I wanted to say about this poem is the overall analogy is of a sunflower, a happy and innocent flower, going from its usual state of happiness to that of depression. This is a journey from feeling a bit low to having no hope, to feel like a number in a healthcare system that doesn't care about you. The doctor didn't notice that the flower is starting to wilt under the medication. After years of medication, the flower sees no other options and wants out. So, like, wow, this poem here is like a great analogy for going from this, I would like some help, I'm feeling a bit under the weather, to there's no hope, there's no one that can help me, there's nothing. It's definitely a very hard-hitting poem for sure. So that was a really good one. Definitely one to read. Okay. So the last poem that I'm going to do, and this one is also about mental health. The entire poetry collection is about mental health. It's about bipolar disorder. And really, really good. Next one is called Depression. So we have I'll read the whole thing out first, and then we'll go line by line to figure out what the author is intending. It's like you are drowning, and the only way to save yourself is to pull the cord and activate your life jacket. And consciously, you know this, but somehow you feel paralyzed. Your hands are tied to something which you cannot even see, and the weight on your body is increasing with each heartbeat. So you descend deeper into the ocean, no matter how much you try not to. Whoo, heavy. So this first line here, it's like you are drowning. So this line here is a simile. This is a comparison using like or as. So depression is like you are drowning, fighting to survive. And then we're going into the overall analogy of the entire poem being like fighting to survive is like drowning. And there's definitely more to it than that. Is to pull the cord and activate your life jacket. So continuing with the metaphor, trying to save yourself to put in the effort to fight your depression. And consciously, you know this, and somehow you feel paralyzed. You know in your mind that you can save yourself, but are having second thoughts. And this could be like a lot of reasons why someone would have second thoughts about trying to overcome the barriers of depression. Your hands are tied to something which you cannot even see, and the weight of your body is increasing with each heartbeat. So the amount of effort needed to fight with the depression feels like too much. The weight of it is so much. Each breath and each heartbeat is physically painful. So this idea that the life-sustaining heart is not enough to be something that you can live for. So you descend deeper into the ocean, no matter how much you try not to. So this is going into, despite your best efforts, even if they were your best, you drown and no one comes to save you. So the interesting part about this is that there's no idea that there's other supports coming to save them. It's all about you're trying to do this, you are drowning, you're trying to pull the life jacket cord, you feel paralyzed, and it's all about you. And I found that very interesting. So this poem uses drowning as a metaphor for fighting to survive depression. If you read between the lines, you will see that fighting to stay alive is an immense amount of pressure on the mind and body, and sometimes you give it your best shot, and sometimes you wonder why you bother. The paralysis and tied hands could also allude to barriers in place by the healthcare system and outside factors such as lack of familial support. So that's the idea that I was going into, where it's all about you, and there was nothing else. Like, there's no life buoy being thrown to you. There's no hand coming down to try to reach to take you out of the water. There's no one jumping in the water to come to save you. It's all about you trying to save yourself. So I found that part really interesting. So yeah, honestly, excellent poetry collection. I think I'm going to do these maybe once a month, where I look into one author's poetry collection or a couple poems by them, like from authors that have like thousands of poems. Like William Shakespeare is probably a great example of this. Has so many poems out there. There's no way you can do like just one collection and have like an idea of the entirety of his poetry. However, I think this was an excellent poetry collection, something that I've read a couple times. I think I gave it like a 4 or 5 stars, somewhere around there, because it really stuck with me. And yeah, so let me know down below, what did you think of these poems? Did they kind of resonate with you, or resonate with somebody that you know? Or, if you don't want to get too personal, what kind of poetry do you enjoy? Do you enjoy poetry? Okay, well, I think that's everything. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.